Өнөөдрийн байдлаар Монгол улсад жилд 3.5 сая тонн хог хаягдал үүсдэгч үүний ердөө 4 хүрэхгүй хувь нь дахин боловсруулагддаг байна. Энэ хаягдлыг хэрхэн шийдвэрлэх сэдвээр бид Mongolia Without Waste буюу хог хаягдалгүй Монгол төрөмс байгууллагын гүйцэтгэх захирал TML Plastic компани Mongolia компани ерөнхий захирал Франк Шеперстэй ярилцж байна. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We're joined today by Mr. Frank Shepard, who's the CEO of Mongolia Without Waste. And the first question is actually, Mr. Shepard, you work spans both the private sector and the NGO space. So how do you see the roles to the government and private companies and the public complementing each other in Mongolia's circular economy, and obviously, especially in driving recycling and the broader sustainability goals?
Yeah. That's a very good question, a long question. Therefore, especially Mongolia Without Waste NGO has been established to be an umbrella to cover and to reach out to the public, to generate and create awareness about the importance of sustainability and recycling, but even more important, also to reach out and to bridge towards the government, explaining them more on advisory role, why it's so important and how it should be tailor-made for Mongolia, because you cannot just copy-paste solutions from other countries. You have to tailor-made it for your own country. So an NGO as Mongolia Without Waste is actually an umbrella, fostering to the public by awareness, to schools by creating education, giving information and feedback to the government, and most important, then it should also be connected with the industry. The industry who produce materials for recycling, packaging, reusable materials, and so on. So you have to see it very clearly as one big umbrella with the public awareness, educational for the students, the government for the framework, the legal framework, and of course the industry for policies and setting up the final operations from collection to sorting to recycling to new products.
So as you're an expert who's working in this sector, how do you evaluating the current situation about recycling in Mongolia?
Yes. I'm now happy that I'm working 3 years on the Mongolian case. Mongolia has a landfill background. So today still 85% of all waste and all materials is ending up to landfill. That is the first matter that should be tackled and changed. So if you want to drive a profitable, sustainable waste management in a company, you have to start with a framework that drives into recycling, reduce waste, and reuse products. So for Mongolia now, working actively in advising the government in a revised the law on waste revision that will drive the new path going into the new part of the recycling. I will explain briefly. The government and the country has the following opportunity. Start with, I explain, the awareness, education at the schools and university, and then setting up the sourcing of the materials that you define upfront. What do you want to recover instead of going to a landfill? That's a policy. For example, you can say that for Mongolia, my advice is recover what is possible today, a plastic beverage bottle, because you have recycling solutions for these materials that I will say now. Plastic bottles you can recycle in Mongolia. Aluminium cans, glass, tires from cars. That are some examples that are already have solutions in Mongolia driving the circular economy for the recycling. But also I have to explain a little bit more, if you allow me. Recycling is not the only solution, it's part of a cycle. Okay, so not all the materials, for example plastic, and that's a very important matter that I want to share with you guys. Only 40 to 45% of all the plastics in the world you can recycle due to the quality or the composition of these plastics. In other words, 60% of plastics are not suitable for recycling. Yes, but they are very suitable for waste to energy, because most of the plastics are born out of oil. Yes, so the second part, after the recycling, covering 60% of the plastics in this case, will generate energy, electricity, steam, or in this cold weather, heat. Yes, so and after that, the materials that you cannot recycle, that you cannot make out of energy, we call it waste to energy, that material can go to landfill. So landfill still will be part of the sustainability solutions in Mongolia, but you have to go to these 3 steps. So it's a very important advice. Only recycling is not the solution. Recycling is part of the full cycle, an important part.
That's very interesting. The second question is actually, I'm very interested that based on your analysis, especially in the recent data, what would a base case scenario look like for Mongolia's recycling ecosystem and by like a 2030?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, for example, I can give you a complete example about the bottles, bottle-to-bottle closed loop. So, when you buy a beverage bottle, it's called PET. It's made It's made from a PET, a plastic. That plastic, that bottle, can be fully recovered again in a chain. And the good news is Mongolia has a full closed loop bottle-to-bottle solution already. So there is a company, Cecil. They are every day collecting bottles at schools, industries, and so on, daily collecting about 400 tons of bottles. Every month are rescued in Mongolia already, and I mean with rescued, not going to the landfill anymore. These bottles then go to a sorting facility, where the bottles will be sorted in colors, prepared to go to the recycling. Also, Mongolia has the TML plastic, as mentioned by you. They will recycle the full bottle into a granulate. It's called a food-grade rPET pellet. That pellet will be converted into a preform, also in a factory in Mongolia. And that preform will be supplied to beverage producers who make out of this 100% recycled bottle a 100% new bottle. And that's the full case that you can copy for car tires, bottles, glass bottles, aluminium, and so on. So this is a solid proven case with technology and experience now in Mongolia. So the opportunity is there. Now we need in Mongolia a legal framework that covers all these steps in the operation.
That's very important. As you're the head of the Mongol Without Waste NGO, how are you looking forward to cooperate with the Mongolian government, and what exactly the main objective in coming 5 years of the NGO in Mongolia?
That's actually my largest and most important mission today. That's one of the 2 pillars. Mongolia Without Waste NGO has 2 pillars. The first one is awareness creation to the public, education to children and schools. Therefore, we have an academia, a mobile academia, and an academia at the TML plastic factory. The second most important, and this is actually my answer to your question, is advise the Mongolian government to include in the law on waste an EPR system, an EPR scheme. An EPR stands for Extended Producer Responsibility. And this is new for the Mongolian government, and it's the role of the NGO, Mongolian Without Waste, to inform clearly what it is, where it stands for, and what are the solutions that it will bring to Mongolia. And it's all led and initiated by in this case, the beverage industry. So the government doesn't need to fund any money. They have to create policies to drive EPR. And this is actually the role of Mongolia Without Waste, to assist, to help, and to inform the government, not explaining what they must do, but give them the right advice in a proven scheme like an Extended Producer Responsibility scheme. This is not something defined for Mongolia. We do this for more than 15 years worldwide. So it's a proven industry-led solution. And it's the role of our NGO, Mongolia Without Waste, to inform correctly how it should be implemented as a part on the new law on waste. And that's the role, the second pillar of the NGO, inform and help them to create the right policies to drive this solution.
Mm-hmm. So could you please tell us more like a specific cases which is the best experiences which is currently very active existing in the world, especially about the recycling sector?
Yes.
At this moment.
Actually, there's not the best of, but in Asia, for example, Japan is best of class today.
It's more optimum.
Pardon?
More optimum the case. Right?
Yes, the optimum case. I think now, and I'm truly happy to say, Mongolia is on a good way. So we have to see it case by case. And you cannot compare Mongolia to another country because you have specific targets, challenges. Actually, you guys are starting from scratch. And that is a big opportunity. So you can make the biggest evolutions in countries like Mongolia.
So the next question is, the recycling facility seems to be delivering environmental and social and economic benefits simultaneously. So in your view, what is the most significant impact of these facilities that Mongolians, both policymakers and citizens, and should be aware of today?
Yes, the biggest impact is circular economy. A factory like this is not only based on a recycling factory, but it will generate new jobs. Think about truck drivers who will drive in the street to collect your bottles, in this case. It will generate jobs in the sorting facilities. It will create new sorting facilities where people work, and then the sorting facility, the preparing of the materials. The factory as such, as I explained, you make the granulate, from the granulate you make the preform, so you generate a totally new industry. New industry, also for Mongolia. And this is what the nice thing is. It is good for the environment, the sustainability, yes. Economically, you will drive in new jobs. And the good thing is you have high-end jobs, university, engineering, but also very jobs in the collection, in the sorting. So people who are now working as scavengers in the streets or on the landfill, in the grey area as we call it, they can go to in a legal job. We have access to banks and social security models and so on. So that is a very important part of the ESG too. So you bring the people who have today low chance on a legal job, you create jobs for them too.
Mm-hmm. As we're approaching to the end of our interview, I would like to ask the last question is, what is the most important thing every citizen should know to achieve a circular economy?
Wow. Yeah, very good. Briefly, every citizen should know that a consumable like, for example, a bottle, is not waste, but it's a commodity. It can generate new products, that's called a recycle, but it can generate also energy. And especially for Mongolia, a lack of sustainable energy out of plastic that you cannot recycle anymore, yes, you can use to create again 80% fuel out of these non-recyclable plastic waste. So every citizen, small or old like me, should be very aware that it's not a waste, but it's a commodity. And it will drive in economical, sustainable, and energetical value add. For everybody will be better with this. Don't go to the landfill with these materials. Save them.
Thank you very much, and best of luck to your everything. And so we would like to express our appreciation for your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.